G'day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some cages for the DJI Action 2 from SmallRig. Now, SmallRig doesn't need any introduction. They make some really good cages and accessories for all types of different cameras, action cameras, DSLR, mirrorless, and even smartphones. And they've come up with a really interesting set of cages and accessories for the Action 2 that really help expand its possibility, including this guy here. This is just a magnetic mount, but as you can see, it has a USB-C port in it, so you can charge up just the camera module without having to connect it to the battery base. And we'll take a closer look at that here in a minute. So let's start out with their small cage. This is designed for just the camera module. As you can see here, there's a latch on the side that opens up the top. The camera module just fits down right in, and you can see it's held in there magnetically. Once the latch is secured, there's no way that that's coming out. A cage like this can offer a little bit extra protection for the camera, but really the front screen and the back screen is still fully exposed. Ideally, what a cage like this does is just give it a little bit more rigidity and a few different mounting options. But one nice thing that they've done here when using this cage, you can still use the stock DJI connectors, and that goes for some of the other accessories that they sell. You can see there everything fits on perfectly. You can see if we take a look around it, we have a cold shoe on one side. On the other side there, we have a 1/4-20 for mounting. So that 1/4-20 is nice because it does give you some mounting options, especially if you want to record vertical video. You can now easily mount it on its side, just like that there. On top of that, SmallRig sells their own version of the magnetic mounts, and these ones are actually really nice. They have two different versions. They have the standard version here, and then they have one that has that USB charger. We'll take a look at that after. But what's nice about them is you can see they do have the GoPro finger mounts, and they just fold out. But it also has a 1/4-20 in the bottom, so it's very flexible on how you can use it and how you can mount it. It just connects to the bottom, just like the ones direct from DJI. But again, at the bottom, you do have that flexibility on how you want to connect it. If you want to connect it to an accessory that just has a 1/4-20 on it, you don't have to use any kind of adapters. It'll just screw right in. Of course, then if you want to mount it to a GoPro mount, you just pull the finger mounts out and away you go. Another nice thing that they've done with it is you can see here at the bottom, we still have that pass-through data port. So it is still fully compatible with either the battery base or the dual screen mod. So you can have the camera module in the cage and it will still connect properly to, like I said, either the battery base or the dual screen mod. The nice thing about that is if you are going to be connecting a microphone to it, you do now have a cold shoe. That makes it a little bit easier to attach one. On top of that, you can easily add a light like this GoPro one here. It can just slide right into the cold shoe. Now it doesn't fit super tight in there, but good enough to do the job. Alternatively, you can use something like the Lume Cube. With that one, at least you can then tighten it down. Now mind you, this configuration would look a little funny because the light is bigger than the actual camera, but it is doable if that's something you want to do. But what's really interesting, what they've done here is they've released one that has a built-in USB-C port. So you can go ahead and connect it there. So you can now charge up the camera module without having to use one of the bases, and that's going to be very appealing to some people. On top of that, you can use one of those power bank handles, and with a small USB cable, you could feed constant power into the Action 2 if you're going to be doing extended recording or time lapses. And you don't have to use the cage to make use of that feature. That USB pass-through charger will also connect directly to the camera. Now, another reason why you would want to maybe use this cage is if you're going to be mounting this in a way that there's going to be maybe perhaps a lot of forces on it. Perhaps you don't really trust these magnetic mounts as much, especially if you're going to be mounting it to something like an outside of a glider, an airplane even. You know, sometimes people will mount them on the outside of something like that. When you purchase either the camera module cage or the complete set cage over here, each one comes with an aluminum finger mount. It just attaches to the bottom there, and you secure it with included screws that do come with it. As you can see, when attached, we now have a nice secure way to mount it. The only thing to keep in mind is when you do mount those GoPro finger mounts at the bottom, these magnetic mounts no longer will work. So lastly here, you can see we also have a full cage for when you're using it with the battery mod or the dual screen mod. And it works very similarly. You can see we have a latch there at the top. Camera just slides right in, just like that. Lock it up, and when it's mounted in there, you can see we still have full access to everything we need. The memory card slot at the back, USB charger at the side, and both power buttons. And with this particular cage, we have two cold shoes. We have one there at the side, also one there at the bottom. Now, one thing to note with this style of cage, it does not work with those magnetic mounts. If you want to mount this camera vertically in this cage, you will have to go ahead and attach that GoPro finger mount. However, at the side here, we do have a fold-out finger mount. So if you've got an arm coming off something, you can easily attach it that way. And again, there's a 1/4-20 underneath it. So very versatile. Again, it will offer a little bit more protection if you happen to drop it, depending on how it hits. Of course, your screens are fully exposed, but the corners will give it some impact protection. Definitely some nice gear from SmallRig for the Action 2. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. It's always greatly appreciated. Just as a reminder, we've recently launched our aircrew members area. Basically, as an aircrew member, you're going to get some behind the scenes footage, some sneak previews, and of course some other perks as well. It's a great way, if you enjoy my content, to support the channel. Another thing I want to mention is that there are some other companies making these types of cages as well. Ulanzi actually has a really nice set available, which I'll be featuring sometime later this week or next week. And the company Tilta, which makes a lot of cages as well. I have pre-ordered it. I'm not sure when it's going to arrive. Should be any time now. So if you are interested in a cage for your Action 2, make sure you watch those videos as well. That way you can decide which one works best for you. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.